Feels weird with this new table.
It does. I feel like I'm too fucking close to y'all.
We can reach feet out if you want
A little game of footsie?
Yeah. Take my shoes off.
What is happening?
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Monday.
Point, yeah.
All or Nothing Show. We're back at it again. My name's Austin. Got Brock, Griffin. And we're going to get after it. We do have some questions we're going to jump into later, but we're going to get some updates. Maybe some...
little topic.
Some, what do you call it, housekeeping, see how the weekend's been, and let's go from there.
Yeah, cracking open some Ray's Energy. We finally got a restock of their stuff. Typically where we get our energy drinks, they've been a little bit behind with getting drinks in stock. So we hit up our boy Austin Holt, shout out to him, and just ordered them directly through Ray's and got a bunch of cases into the gym last week, one of them being Witch Voodoo, South Beach, and things like that. So we're cracking open some Voodoos.
Ray's fucks, man.
Yeah, they don't disappoint from label to
good.
feeling to taste.
I think I really like them just because of Austin. I don't know any of the other people, but their branding, their flavors are good, like just across the board.
Probably the CEO.
No, he's like their sales rep. But
He's the bus
I feel
boy.
like if they didn't have him, I probably wouldn't fuck with him as hard, but cool dude. So makes me enjoy the brand that much more.
Absolutely.
It's people like that, you know? People that are just cool.
Cool
Some
dudes.
people ain't cool.
Yeah.
No.
Some people ain't. But he's cool. Which, by the way, hopefully maybe we'll have him on the show here soon.
It's
Yeah.
probably been, it's been a little bit less than that, but I was going to say, it's been almost a year since we had these
I was
riding
about to
down
say.
to pick up the
We've
equipment.
had 'em
I was
again.
going to say, first
I know.
time, I know. But first time, yeah, I always think about that when I crack one open. I'm like, yeah, we were riding
Voodoo
down.
holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, that was a fun trip. I want to do that again, but I think where we went isn't going to have anything. I don't know. Y'all know how I feel about the prices at Mr. Stevens, but I don't know. It still would be nice to go down there, look at a bunch of machines, and possibly buy a few.
I'm sure there's more road trips and more places to
Oh,
buy.
yeah.
For sure.
Well, I know. We still have to get a hack score.
I
right?
would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Christmas list.
Yeah, we'll have a gym member like donation bucket.
I'm sure if we
That'll
talked
be
to
the
Trick
Toys
enough
for
and
Tots
like
this year.
broke it down, being like, "Yo, this would increase
Your
leg,
followers, yeah.
leg blowout age, or like
Yeah. Listen, trade in the GTR.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Get us a hack squad.
he'd be like, you know what? That's a write off.
Yeah.
It'd be branded Trick 2G down the side.
Oh,
of the
I
hack
don't
squad.
care. Yeah, it might be cooler that way.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, we need to make another road trip like that. That'd be cool. But also a bigger car.
Yeah. What do
My
we
legs
take?
were fucked. Your car. On the way down
Yeah,
there, we
that's
picked up the U-Haul.
Oh, and then
in
we picked
Charlotte.
up the U-Haul. That's right.
Riding front or first class in the front
class,
is much better than riding in the back.
Yeah, your knees get smushed. Yeah, no ball
Yeah.
room. But you know what scares the shit out of me, though, and why I don't really want to pick up any more equipment is because I get so nervous driving, like, long vehicles like that, like trucks or
box
trailers,
truck,
because it's like, I just feel like I'm so close to, like, crashing it or something. And I actually never did, except in the motherfucking U-Haul storage facility,
Yeah.
where it's literally, like, the width of, like, 10 feet, and you have to fit a truck in there.
Well,
like,
to be fair, they crashed too.
yeah, they crashed, too.
Is that
But-
odd that they build like most of their like storage units like impossible to navigate with their
Well,
own
even think about
trucks?
this. Like, most of the units barely have the width that's bigger than a door frame.
Yeah.
Remember the first units they were going to put
Yep.
us in for free? And it was like, oh, yeah, you get these 2 units. I'm like, sweet. I can easily store the gym stuff in there.
Oh,
and then we get there, and it's literally a traditional size door frame. I'm like, none of our machines are going to fit in that.
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid. And then so they, transitioned us to the one outside, but
I
that was
forget
hell.
how much you had to kind of do on the fly as far as making a
There was more
decision right
stress
then
than
and there. Yeah.
than I think about now, but yeah, I don't know. We did. There was so much that went on, and I'm glad we filmed a lot of it.
Yeah.
Remember running into Lowe's like 5 minutes before they closed to get a lock?
To get a lock, yeah,
For
I
the
had you
storage
sprint in
unit
there,
door.
yeah. Yeah, that was what. And then when we got to the storage unit, they were like, "Oh, this is the wrong location," and they're closed.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It was actually the other U-Haul that I was supposed to have a storage unit at. It was all a big like fuck up.
Yeah. I feel like
But-
a lot of people miss that. Go watch. It's your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's
right?
on my YouTube channel. Or honestly, it's like the first. If you look up Iron Built Gym on Google, it's like the first or second YouTube video that pops up on the search.
Yeah.
But it's called like Getting Our Equipment or something, Iron Built Gym. If you just look up on YouTube, you can find the whole playlist.
I'm sure a ton of people that, didn't keep up back then or are new to the gym, don't even, like, they just think, oh, we just turned the key to this gym. You know?
Well, that, and then also they probably
Amazon
think
Prime.
They didn't see all the hard
they
calluses
might
we put on our
understand that
hands.
there was a process, but they may not know that, oh, they actually like filmed most of the process.
Yeah.
So it's cool to look at. I remember when I was like trying to open the gym, I was like just looking everywhere on like YouTube for like, who is like, is there any series out there I can watch of like someone doing this so I can like, so I can learn some advice. I mean, like there are people like Christian Guzman, but like he doesn't really have any videos on it. And like by the time he actually started making maybe some business type videos, he's way more successful, and like his experience and like what he's dealing with now is very different than, someone starting from scratch.
Unlimited budget.
Yeah, limited
This
budget
is
too.
balling on
That was
budget
another thing
here.
I was thinking of too when I was watching Chris Bumstead's video this morning. He was like hitting legs at do you know the brand like Revive MD? Have you seen stuff like that? I don't really know a single person that takes it, but it's another one of those brands that's like massive, but I've never like seen anyone take their supplements.
Yeah, it's like a pill for every organ.
Yeah,
basically.
that's basically what they do. But anyway, they apparently have a gym. I don't know if it's at their headquarters or what, but super clean, like almost like my dream aesthetic. Same kind of like faded black type walls or off black walls, and then just tons of nice machines, Prime, Atlantis, all that stuff. And I was just thinking to myself, I was like, I could spend countless money, spend years building this gym, and someone could just buy something like that, and put it together in like 2 months.
Yep.
And it's like, both gyms could be a phenomenal experience, but it just puts into perspective, like, money buys shit, man. And sometimes, like, it's cool what we did, and it's more authentic in a way, but, there's just always, like, a better gym out there with just more shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like a Redcon 1 gym, I'm sure, they just put a big order, boom, $500,000 worth of equipment right there. And, yeah.
And then, it does take even harder work to create, a true culture within that gym.
No, for sure. And I think those gyms miss out on culture, and they miss out on, again, some authenticity. But what were you
There
going
are
to say,
certain
Griffin?
things I feel like I kind of feel like this with houses. Like a house sat recently, and I sometimes feel like in the context of gyms too, but this house was like completely renovated, nice, like older fan home, but with a new interior. And I feel like I almost feel uncomfortable like using the utensils, like using the countertops, because it's like everything just needs to be like spotless here. I don't want to sit on the couch because I might mess it up. And contrast that to maybe like more of like an old country home or something like that. Everything's kind of worn in its own way. It's not perfect, but like you can live in it, sort of thing. So I feel like even if a gym dumps a bunch of money in there, there are certain gyms you go to where it's, rusted out, old, but like you can get down. Like a Branch Warren gym versus, I always think about that scene in Generation Iron when Ben Pekulski's in like a lab with top-notch equipment, and they're like tracking his breathing as he's doing an RDL, and then you see like Branch Warren in this like Texas garage just like with like rusted out stuff, and it's like you'd get a much better workout there.
Yeah.
Than just
that's something I wanted to talk about, because I've seen 2 videos now on it, is the idea of like evidence-based training, or basically fuck the science of like training. And I sent you all the video. Did either of y'all look at the video I sent you from Ben Pollock, where he said like why I don't train scientifically or something like that? Y'all just ignored the link. It was probably like a week, something like that.
I don't know if I
You remember it,
If
kind
I
of?
say I'm saying I don't know, probably didn't watch it.
Yeah. But anyway, he kind of discusses that a lot of times, like science, basically, if you look at how much we know, and then like, the beginning of time until now, he kind of draws it out and explains it in a much more elaborative way than I will. But basically, he's saying that sometimes we think we know, like where we're at in present day, we're like, oh, this is what we know. But just because something hasn't been proven yet, it might be proven later in the future. So like I might have an idea about training, about, oh, the pump actually leads to muscle growth. And someone might say, well, show me the study. Where's the evidence for that? And sometimes there isn't like a double-blind randomized control that proves it. And it might take years later to actually be like, oh, shit, these meatheads were right the whole time. There actually is something to that. And I think sometimes people overlook either client experience or anecdotal type of evidence immediately they just dismiss it if it doesn't have, science of today's like proof. But if shit works, if bodybuilders have been doing this forever, it's kind of like, in the 70s they were like, oh, a pound of, protein per gram, or a gram of protein per pound of body weight. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
that was like enough protein. Then years later, decades later, they're like, yeah, that's basically exactly what the science shows.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think people get too driven into like, where's the proof, where's the study, when a lot of times, like, we don't need to be scientific about everything.
Yeah.
And also, do you need to study to just know if something's true or not?
Or if something feels good,
Do you need to study to just confirm your own opinion, or can you have your own opinion and just stand in that?
I agree with you. And there's bringing up the legend, Rich Piana himself.
I thought you were
watched
gonna say
it.
Stone Cold.
Oh, well, he's a living legend, but
This is
Rich
a dead
Piana,
legend.
I watched a video just back when he was alive, and he was talking about like I forgot how it got into the topic of what exercises work what, and he was like, there was a guy back in the day, I forgot the guy's name, and he mentioned him. He was like, there's this guy that went in and he would train one exercise that day, just one, and he would hit it as hard as he could, or for like an hour straight, that one exercise, let's say a rope extension. And then 2 days later, he would figure out which muscle was burnt out that next day, and he's like, all right, that exercise is for that muscle.
Yeah.
And, I think it's pretty straightforward. I guess over time, it's just doing it and experience with everything, So, like, you realize for yourself, oh, this bicep curl or this movement works this for me better than that movement, or vice versa.
And I think there's so much variety, as we know, with like, person to person, with what you like, what your goals are, how your body works anatomically and all of that. And it kind of goes back to, I think Ben touched on it in his video, where he was basically saying, oh, well, we know that, we need to do this much frequency for muscles per week for growth, for optimal growth. Or, there's people like Mike Israetel, who will talk about, reps in reserve and minimum effective like volume and things like this. But it's like, why do we see the same bodybuilders like Dorian Yates and some of the greatest bodybuilders still follow a bro split, train a body part once a week, and see amazing growth and progress?
Yeah.
It might not be evidence-based, but it's clearly working,
Well, going off of kind of what you said, Austin, I kind of feel that way when it comes to certain things that are like more maybe like esoteric, as far as, fasted cardio or like doing vacuums or other things like that. That I feel like a lot of times when I recently re-upped my certification, there was like a continuing ed seminar that I did, because I was trying to just look at more stuff that was like bodybuilding related and not necessarily like strength training. But he did touch on Dorian, but I just thought it was interesting because he was talking about basically giving this conference athletes versus bodybuilders. And he said that kind of within like mainstream Instagram, or like, modern day like bodybuilding culture per se, it's just this attitude of like, what is like the minimum that you can do to like get any result, whereas like with athletes, it's like, what more can I do? What more can I do to like get to this point or accomplish this task or something? Whereas, let's say with bodybuilding, it's like, what's the least amount of cardio that I can do to like see results, or like, what's the least amount of days that I can train to be able to make progress, or other things like that. And so he was saying basically like the general attitude within the two fields is different, but like that's very much, it's weird when people kind of use like science or other things like that to justify kind of like doing less. Whereas you think about these different greats, and, even if what they did was, not scientifically accurate or this or that, the fact that they're trying to go out and do more, and even if it's maybe, anecdotal or other things like that, at least it's like, something that is an extra effort, and not just, oh, you don't have to do cardio if you're dieting for a show. You just have to lower your calories or this or that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even like, I think about it with bodybuilders and runners and other people I've talked to, I feel like, or not talked to, I wish I talked to, but listened to, it's like a lot of like, I feel like the top athletes will say that, they don't follow things by the book, or they don't take rest days, when most people will be like, oh, your body needs like a designated rest day to actually recover. But it's like, there's a lot of people that have like either pushed through injuries or worked around things, or like Louis Simmons, came up with his own invention to like reconfigure his back and strengthen it, after injuring it. And sometimes just not boxing yourself within this scientific like window, you end up having a lot more freedom, creativity to find out what works best for you and your body.
I was listening to this guy the other day, and I told you about it, Brock, but this particular podcast that this guy was kind of cool. It was a more unconventional podcast, but he was talking about how he's trying to set the record in the U.S. for like snatch, but he had this whole mentality that I just thought was kind of cool about toughening yourself in different ways. But he basically said, and a lot of this was like his own opinion, but that he never really takes rest days because you almost like fool yourself if you take a few days off thinking that you can come back like and go right as hard as you were before, versus like if almost like the Hulk in the Avengers, like I'm always angry. If he's like, if I'm always sore, then I kind of always know like how to warm up and like kind of the limit to get to, versus like if I feel completely refreshed, sometimes I feel like I can go, too hard,
Harder
too
than
quick,
you should,
sort of
yeah.
thing. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
But
I get it. I mean, I'm pretty dumb when I come in here most days. I just
do it to do it.
to do it, and I
it
just
works.
push, and I push through aches, pains, shit, making noise, and maybe it's
Tighten in a
good.
screw again.
Yeah, I guess so. But just come in, bust balls, get a sweat going, get my blood pumping.
Maddie was leaving,
and then-
and she hears, "Okay, bitch," and then she looks over as you on the leg
Yeah.
press.
Oh shit! What do you think I was talking about?
No, she
All right,
knew.
bitch.
No, she
I
knew.
did think it was funny. Yesterday I was lifting too, and Austin came up and he like grabbed the 20s or 25s. He like sat down on the bench. He was like, "No, fuck it, we'll do it standing." And he's like just talking to himself. And then
I love it.
raises.
I
Yeah.
Dude,
love it.
I'm so
It's
mean
like
to
he's
myself
possessed.
some days, dude. I just, because I hear myself sometimes talk myself out of doing something a little tougher.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I get there. Yeah.
And I think about it for a second. I'm like, fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like, because with the leg press, I was like, this would be my last one. I was like, you know what? Fuck
Yeah.
that. I'm going to put quarters on after that. After this
Yeah.
segment. And
Sometimes
what I
that's
did.
what I've been doing a lot recently, where it's like, yeah, okay. I like mentally picture in my head, oh, I should do this, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm like, well, fuck, I just thought of it. Now I gotta do it.
Exactly.
And that's how it is, especially like with running. It's like once I tell myself or I tell Maddie, it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing 14 miles today, and then I'm like, oh, it's raining or this or that. I should just do 12. I'm like, oh fuck, I said it,
Dude, and
So-
He's smoking and doing
don't,
I
like,
know.
you feel good knowing, and not to say like,
you're holding yourself accountable.
not to say
That's
we're
what it
better
is.
than somebody or anybody at all, but I feel like there's a different level when you can think, and I'm not perfect, and I'm getting better at listening or hearing that like bitch voice talk, but like
Yeah.
I'm glad that I'm starting to hear myself think that, and then I catch myself from most things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, fuck that, dude. Whether most of the time it is working out, but it's whenever I just that didn't feel good. I think I'm gonna stop after this one. It's like, no, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just self accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets me fired.
And you
up.
never, and that it's something I touched on a week ago. You never regret doing that. You never go,
100%.
oh
That's a
damn,
good
should have cut it early.
Yeah.
should have went
unless
light.
I blew
yeah.
the meat off the bone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then that's the only reason
Yeah.
I would say, I shouldn't go that hard.
Yeah. Whoops.
But yeah. Anyways, hope y'all are out there getting after it, doing something. But what else is new with the day? Would you do anything today before you came in here?
I had to go to Lowe's earlier. I got a gas can and then got gas for the mower. I'm learning. Didn't know that they use regular car gas.
Yeah, they do.
I just thought it was like a special kind.
Oh,
But
shit.
it's been like 8 years since I cut the grass. So
Yeah. To
back
be fair, it's
home,
been a while
yeah.
for me too.
Okay.
So did that, and then I also had gotten this a little while ago, but I messed it up. But I have these like broken blinds on the front door, and I was trying to swap them out for like a tint to where I could just have the exposed window, but people couldn't see in, and it keeps the heat out.
Yeah.
But I had done that a couple weeks ago, and I bought it. It's like $20 basically for like a piece of film. And you spray the window, you spray the tint, you put it on, you squeegee,
It's all
and then you
bubbled
cut
the
it.
fuck up.
And on my last squeegee,
Oh,
I
yeah,
tore it.
Wasn't that
and
like
I
a
was
few
like,
weeks
fuck. Yeah.
So now you got
So
a new one?
I went and got
Yeah.
a new one, and put it on and meal prepped and stuff like that. So had to just do a few errands. Had to go to the dump. It's weird to like actually have to go to the dump after years of being in an apartment and just walking down to
Yeah.
the dumpster too. It's weird to have to like pack it into your car and be like, how many trips can I make basically? and
There's a
stuff.
lot of like adult errands that you have the older you get. Like I remember, obviously as a kid, you don't really have really any errands. Then when you get into like college or like, kind of where I'm at now, it's like, I got some things to do. But I feel like the older I get, the more like tedious thing is like, oh, I'm going to the bank today or this or that. And it's just like these little things that take up time that kind of throw off your day sometimes.
What's kind of fucking me right now is, well, I definitely pushed it off to the last minute, but taxes. That's an adult thing.
I told you to get those.
Yeah, I know you told me, Dad.
Too.
Apparently, I'm the one that's on top of my taxes, but
Well,
All right.
hopefully you're
I'll
the only,
take care of
hopefully
y'all
you're the only
for a
person
small
paying
fee.
money.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why I'm
Rock's
in no
our
rush.
accountant,
Yeah.
So if
You-
the IRS
oh,
comes
shit.
after
I will
us,
say, you don't have to be in a rush if they owe you money. They never come after you if they owe you money. They come after you if you owe them money.
Have you guys ever seen the movie The Accountant? With,
I know he has
Ben Affleck?
autism.
No. Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not like
Special.
the main key of the movie.
I just
it's
felt
actually
I related to that.
So he's good with numbers.
I heard he's retarded. No, it's a very good movie. It's got Ben Affleck, who not usually like the craziest fan of, but it's basically about this guy who does have like autism or whatever, but he's like stupid.
You have-
Stupid.
All
God
right,
damn.
so-
Oh,
Try
God.
That's why
getting
you
it out.
relate.
It's I've caught it. He's
Stupid.
he's super good. I was trying to say super and stupid in one word. He's stupid. He's stupid good with numbers, obviously being an accountant, blah, blah. Point is, he'll go and like, figure out what's wrong with this, accounting on like this company or whatever, their taxes, their money, whatever, find out who did it and basically kill him. He's like an assassin, but also like an accountant in one. But anyway, it's a really good movie. Acting's great. Action's good. It's a good plot. It's a good twist at the end. You kind of see it coming, but it's also good. Yeah, for you viewers that need a good movie to watch, if you haven't seen
So
it.
about taxes.
Yeah, about taxes.
If you know an autistic guy who kills
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
him up.
Send him my way. Yeah.
Damn it. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this week, though, because we should have some more drinks coming in, some good ones from Ghost this week.
Nice.
We got shirts, hopefully Friday, because
Hopefully.
since they ship pretty quick, they're printing now, so I'm hoping they're definitely guaranteed delivery by Tuesday, but I'm hoping they'll like ship like Thursday, get here Friday, which would be nice to have.
Next Level Blend?
Yep. So your new shirts at Iron Built, and if you're interested and you're not local, we will ship as well. Just direct message us.
These shirts fit great as fuck, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, they fit
And
good. They're
yeah.
a perfect gym
material.
shirt.
Yeah, and we went with just black and this like cool white design. It's kind of like a varsity type tax, a little American flag, everything like that. So it'll be cool. But anyway, got that going on. Hopefully, GYMFLO samples come in for future product.
Yeah,
so
that
that should
true.
be good.
I'm excited about
Yeah.
this one.
You know, if y'all aren't following us on GYMFLO on social media, we
You're
dropped
missing
it.
out.
Yeah, you're missing out, first off. And second off, we're dropping a ton of stuff, like contests, campaigns, and whatnot, but also drop some questions on there. Try to get some feedback.
Yeah, and if you're listening to
So-
the podcast, just dropped today the Driver's Mix campaign and kind of giveaway, which is basically we want to know how you're taking all or nothing, or your pre-workout in general. So feel free to do all or nothing, but if you do have another pre-workout, hop in there. But basically, show us, do you dry scoop the pre-workout? Do you mix it? And just post it on your story tag, GYMFLO, to get in on that giveaway and picking a few winners for a free all or nothing tub at the end of the week.
What team are y'all?
Dry scoop.
I'm a mixed kind of guy. I went years of dry scooping, but when I started mixing Monster and Lime again, I was like, damn, these are good. And then once I did that, I was like, well, shit. And the thing is, too, usually I would like dry scoop and then head to the gym, and by the time I'm at the gym, it'd kick in. But now, since I take it at the gym, I feel like I'd take it and then just sit in my chair until I like felt it, which is something. But now I can like kind of sip it, watch a video in my office, and then be like, oh, it's game time, and then head
I
out.
probably should do that, but a lot of times I'm like, I got to work out now.
Well, and you have a giant like
Yeah.
jug, so you can't really mix it in that. You need to
Yeah.
bring a shaker.
You need to buy a metal cup.
Yeah.
Metal cup. I did get a metal blender bottle, but I'm kind of saving that for smoothies.
Smoothies.
I know.
He's turning vegan now.
Yeah.
No. It's the raw egg shake.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
telling you. So,
Cooking up eggs in that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm team mixed, so
team mix.
I like enjoying my flavors.
Yeah, I've been into
I'll
it.
have to try that, especially after you did the cherry and lime. the other day.
Chime time.
Chime time. Yeah, chime.
Slime.
Slime. There
yeah.
we go.
Slimy
That thing
Steve.
slimy.
Yeah.
So, boys, we dropped some questions on the Instagrams
Yep.
Sunday. Per usual, if y'all aren't keeping up with that, we all drop questions boxes on our personal IGs. Make sure you follow us in the description below. And I know all of us got quite a few questions, hopefully.
Yeah.
Who wants to dive into first?
I'll touch on like
I know he would. Yeah, I
yeah.
think
Wrote
I'll
'em
take. I'll
down.
take the
I'll
rope.
take the lead on this one. I thought this question was kind of interesting. I really kind of thought, Griffin, you probably have a nuanced thought to it. But we had our boy Gino ask, what's the most aesthetic body part? I didn't really know exactly
I got you.
what he worded at first, but how I took it was, and maybe this is what he meant, was kind of like, what body part I feel like is like, maybe like the pinnacle that someone should like look to grow, like what's like when I look at a physique, what am I looking for like immediately that stands out as I feel like can look like super impressive. And for me, like I really want on at least my own body an impressive back and impressive legs. Part of that is probably because I feel like I can grow those body parts better than others, so I'm naturally going with what are maybe my benefits or my pros. But I just feel like, if you see somebody from behind and you see those big like traps, it kind of leads into the shoulders, bigger lats, a thick back, and like a t-shirt. I'm like, that guy's strong as shit. It just like a strong back just looks like a strong individual. Mm-hmm. And same deal if they got some tree trunk legs. I'm like, that person just looks strong.
Like a strong individual.
Yeah. I'm trying to be that strong individual. Strong.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I was looking at, not to say I'm looking at dudes, but I was. I went out to the river yesterday.
Ain't no shame.
That's right.
Yeah, he saw me.
Yeah, I went out to the river yesterday and I was walking down.
You were spying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the bushes. He's watching.
He needed some shade.
Yeah. But no, Griffin inspired me to go out downtown yesterday. It was such a nice day. And I was walking down the, what's that, Potterfield Bridge?
Yeah.
What is that? Yeah. And this dude walking up, younger cat, and he had his little cutoff shirt and shit. And I was like, all right, respect. And the first thing I noticed on him, and it like clicked with me, I was like, damn, dude's got monstrous calves. And like
He licked his lips.
well, I could tell he worked out. He had, some arms and then shoulders, and then the calves were monstrous. And I guess either trains them or genetically gifted that way. But I was like, damn, a set of strong calves, which goes with the legs, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that caught my attention first. And after that, it'd be definitely a thick back.
You really would think the most aesthetic body part on a person could be the calves.
Well, think about cankles. Is that aesthetic?
No, but here's my thing: is calves, one, they're small muscle group. I feel like that'd be saying like biceps. But two is
Biceps are aesthetic.
calves are a thing. Yeah, but overall, the most aesthetic. Calves are a thing that, like you said, can be very genetic or be, for X, Y, or Z reason why they're big. Versus you can't accidentally have big quads or big back like that, like muscle wise. That's got to be kind of
I think
work.
it's one of those things that you can tell if something's aesthetic by seeing examples of like a high insertion or other things like that.
Yeah.
So if you see a good pair, it's like, okay, you can appreciate it.
I caught him, and maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I see people
man
that don't
knows
have.
he loves
I
his
see
calves.
people that don't have calves and lacking. It just doesn't
You
match
talking
the
about
rest.
me?
It doesn't match the rest. Looks like it's the aesthetics may be off. I'm not saying they are off.
The
but
carpets match to the drapes.
but then I agree with you on the back.
I actually, Austin told me the other day, may or may not have that kind of like, you hear people say that leggings are a privilege, not a right. And he said something along the lines of short shorts are a privilege, not a right, depending
Yes.
on the calves. So
100%.
maybe there's
On the calves? I feel like you have the quads to wear short shorts. What do the calves have to do with this? That's like saying forearms. Calves are the forearms of the legs, guys.
Sounds like you need to wear the long pants more.
Are calves not the forearms of the legs?
The high. What are
Keep
those,
those high socks.
high
that we
knees?
got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just messing.
Are they not?
What?
Are calves not the forearms of the legs?
Oh, they are. And to be aesthetic, your forearms are supposed to be as big as.
Yeah, exactly.
What is
would
that?
Boyer
as
say?
big as either. What's I think the
What
the
is
ratio? Your forearms have
No,
to
I
be
think
as big
it's-
as your bicep or something.
No, I think its calf has to be the size of your arm or something like that. I think that's what it is. Because if your forearm is the size of your bicep, you'd have like 16-inch forearms. I don't know. if
What's
that would be
wrong with
accurate.
that?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I would say back too, because if you think about any kind of pose, you can see it from the front, you can see it from the side, you can see it from the back, and also whether it be wide or thick or other things like that, like kind of no matter which way you go, a nice back is a nice back.
You
And
want
I
that
feel like
back
when
you
it's-
can see from the front.
Yeah, so thick. So, and then the other thing I would say too with that is back is one of the few things that I feel like you need to have good mobility to be able to have a well-developed back too, to where like you can really see weak points with it, as well as one thing that I thought about a lot early on is something I think Frank Zane said, but to train basically aspects of the silhouette to look bigger. So if you were to shine a light from behind you, how would somebody tell that you were well sculpted? You'd have nice delts, you'd have a nice V-taper.
I wonder if I heard that
yeah.
from you on an
Kind
old
of a
YouTube
side.
video, or if I heard it directly from him. I think I heard it from you in an old
Probably, yeah.
YouTube video.
Like Griffin.
Yeah,
So-
delts, back, quads, outer sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the
tabs.
idea of training for silhouette. You know what? I know I heard it from you because I remember
You're
you were
welcome.
talking about it in a video, and you were talking about training like lateral raises and like the side delt because it would add more shape to that. So I remember
Leading
adding
the
in
next
more shoulder.
generation.
Yeah, yeah.
So, are we swapping questions or are we going through them
No,
all?
I mean that's all that I really wanted to touch on. So you can go on.
Oh shit! Well then I'll dive into. I actually, speaking of Gino, I actually got one from him, and it's
Dang,
pretty.
we
It's pretty
all
good.
did.
But I'm not the guy to really ask. I'm going to tell you why right off the bat, because I don't really get much sleep or quality sleep. But how to get the best quality sleep?
I can tell you.
Well,
Avoid
there's
energy
one
drinks.
thing that puts me to sleep.
oh, yeah.
that
Dang.
pussy.
Yeah, that'll
Give
knock
me that
you
itis.
out.
Are y'all? Well, I don't know. Griffin's a. I feel like he's a gentleman. He's always ladies first. But listen, after you do the deed, are you conked out?
Usually, I'm grabbing some type of like snack real quick,
Oh,
a swig
snack.
of water, and I'm going straight to bed. Usually.
I don't need a snack, but yeah, a
No,
little water. I'm done.
usually I get an appetite immediately after. Like I'm like, let me go get not a meal,
yeah,
but a snack.
Yeah,
Recharge the batteries, swig of water,
Some
and I'm out
goldfish
to
or
bed.
something.
Dang. Well, I will agree with you on the water. I feel like I chug water, and then I'm usually
Yeah.
conked out because
Okay,
even
good.
after the
Yeah.
time of like getting the towel or other
Yeah,
things like that,
yeah.
I'm just like,
yeah. I usually get the towel and then I just hop in and I'm
Yeah.
just out.
There's been a few different things I feel like, in the past tried melatonin, Z-Quil, some other things, and ain't nothing better than
Ain't nothing.
some bomb, you know what,
Yeah.
to just knock your ass
Mac
out.
and cheese smack.
All the times in school, yeah. Just if you're stressed out about an exam or, I got to wake up early in the morning, how am I supposed to get to bed?
Yeah.
Just
That'll get it
The
stress
done.
out,
snooze on
yeah.
you, dude.
Relieve the stress.
I mean, like again, I don't know. I'm sure there's some like things you could do, rituals. One being getting laid, but also
Yeah, you should try that.
Yeah,
that's in just general. Not saying like
not
you know,
easily done sometimes,
Oh,
but
sometimes it
Yeah.
might be Pamela, it might be Festina. They both did get the job done. They know how to get around.
I would say one thing that's helped me a lot at home now is when I get home, I just turn on lamps. I don't turn on overhead lights.
I love lamp.
Yeah, I love lamp. Something about the nice warm, like almost like a candle light, I feel like makes me go to bed.
Yeah.
It's hard to do too, but keeping your phone like off or away within that last hour before you go to bed versus staying up scrolling.
I feel like this doesn't help my deep sleep. I don't wear a watch to like tell if I'm getting into deep sleep. I probably don't because I usually always still wake up very tired. But I do smoke a little bit of THC some
You
nights.
can't say that until July.
Oh yeah. Well, it's from DC, so it's
Okay.
But I use a pen, so that's easy just to hit that couple puffs, and I'm put to bed sometimes. But
After
sometimes
he watches the
I was about to say,
1,000-Pound Sisters.
if I get sidetracked before I go lay in bed, I will watch YouTube for hours and not realize it if I do get a little stony. So you got to be like already in bed, hit it, lights out,
he didn't quit it.
hit it, and quit it.
Yeah.
Next one is who, and this is for all of us. Who do you guys pay attention to on social media, local or anywhere?
I have a couple like different people that I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but I go in and out as far as like actual influencers or other people like that. Because sometimes I feel like I almost shouldn't know the person to like be inspired by them. I don't know if I'm articulating that
Hold
well,
on.
but
Repeat that. Shouldn't
sometimes
know
I
the
feel like
person.
it's easier to take value from somebody if I don't know them.
I would
Like,
agree.
If that
personally?
makes sense. Yeah, because
that-
sometimes
yeah.
I feel like even if you're given a good point, I'm like, do you really live up to that sort of thing? If I know
Yeah,
you in
it's almost
person.
best to like believe in the persona that they put out there than rather know everything about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a few people that I like to follow, but I kind of go in and out of like more so influencers because after a while I feel like, okay, I'm just getting sold to basically that, this is just something to like that they're putting up to get followers or other things like that. But I have a few people that I like to follow. That guy Solbra I send you. He's got some nice like good captions, good meals, like good homage to old school like
He's a
aesthetics or
traditionalist.
other things like that. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Australian. There's another guy I like who I found recently who's that the guy who shoots all his stuff on film.
Also
He's
named
also
Brock.
Australian. Yeah, also named Brock.
Good
So I feel like I like there's something about like I don't know. At this point in life, I feel like I'm not really trying to get a lot of like information or like look up to people for that kind of stuff. So it's more so like personas I feel like I gravitate to. If you're like, down to earth, not really flashy or other things like that. There's something that I feel like I just kind of pull from more like traditionalist kind of stuff, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
One person, just like you, I kind of go in ebbs and flows with certain people. There's some people like I'll generally follow, but don't look at everything they post, like a Jock or a David Goggins. That's more, I don't know if I call it mainstream, but more mainstream. But two things I'll say is like one, someone I listen to a lot more recently that I've seen and listened to a lot on like Joe Rogan's podcast is Cameron Haynes, who's really renowned for his like bow hunting, but also does ultra marathons and is a beast with what he normally does. But something just about, and this kind of goes with most of the people I've been trying to follow recently, whether they're 10,000 athletes or other athletes in general, is just follow more people that are just doing feats or training or just getting after it. It just fires me up. I mean, it could be simply someone running and getting these miles in, or it could be someone like hitting a good squat or just training. But just I'd rather see someone actually like training and working hard and pushing themselves than just another look at my meal or look at my this is a selfie. And like basically every day Cameron Haynes it's like 2 clips on his story of him running up. It's like a 12-mile loop down and back, 12 miles total of running up this mountain, and then he jumps onto this little like pedestal or something that's at like the summit of it, and then he'll run back down it and things like that. And sometimes I'll be talking shit to people that have been sending him like goofy ass like excuses or messages and things like that. And it'll
There's
just be
something
good.
that's nice too. Now that you mention that, I feel like following people that if it's not as like glamorous or flashy, but it's at least like real. It's
real,
not just
yeah.
like a photo op or something. Because especially when I first started following like actual like Instagram fitness people or other things like that, you catch on after a while of this is just set up for a photo. Like they're not actually doing this. They're not like living this way. They're not training this way. This is a leased car or other things like that. So it's nice like when you actually find people that are doing there it is.
There it is. The voice
There it
crack.
is.
What are they putting
doing
these
real
drinks?
stuff? But if it's if it's actually just shot on a phone or like just thrown together really quick, at least as long as it's genuine.
Yeah, because you can't like photo op 14 miles. You can't photo op a 4 or 5 squat or something like that.
I assume
yeah.
you do that every time you go running.
Yeah, I do.
know.
I told you I just drive up my car.
You photo
film a
op
quick-
re-racking the weights the other day.
I did do that. I did do that. But something too that he put on his story. Maybe y'all will find something out of it. But he was had someone I guess driving near him and filming him for a story or whatever. But Cameron Haynes was running, and it was like a hot day or something like that. So it made me kind of think about like the hot days I've had. And he was asking, or like reading off questions from people that they had for him. And some guy was like, so, somebody has a question, like, what do you do when it's hot outside and you're feeling like real hot? And Cam was like, oh, well, he was like going on and basically saying like, what's another synonym for hot? And he's like, weak. So really you should just be saying, I'm weak. And like he kind of went on with that. And I just liked it. And it's like, it sounds like stupid. So be like, well, actually you could have a heat stroke and this and that. And it's like, okay. But let's think for a second. Like if you just tell yourself like, oh, I'm hot, I'm tired, I'm weak,
You sell yourself.
I'm tired,
You know,
things
yeah,
like
you
that.
sell
Yeah,
yourself.
you're selling yourself short.
Because then on the other end, it's going to be, it's cold outside, or
yeah,
it's dark.
I'm
or other
tired.
things
Like
that.
I'd rather just flip that personality, just like we talk about with lifting and being like, okay, bitch, like stop being a pussy, this or that, and just do the work. And I just kind of like chuckled to myself doing that, because I've like mentally told myself like, oh, it's hot or this or that, and it's like, sometimes just seeing those little things, it's not like long-term motivation, but sometimes you just need that little like kickstart, a little message that, again, like following these people that are real and do the work. I'm like, damn, they're just like me. They have like hot days, they have this or that, they have sore days, but they just overcome it and push through it. And I'm like, damn, I can do that too.
I don't know if you feel this way too. Kind of just a quick side note, but do you ever feel like after you get used to a certain level of conditioning or other things like that, that it feels weird to go back? Like when we were in the garage, get used to the heat, you get used to sweating a lot. And then when we went back to the actual gym, the air conditioning feels weird to like training almost. Yeah. It's weird once you kind of just accept those different conditions to then go back to like a more, normal environment again.
Yeah. I got so used to running in the cold, and then now it's like, it could be only like 70% humidity and like 60 degrees outside, and I'm like, oh, this is hot. And I'm like, but literally when I started really kind of this running journey like last summer, I got used to the heat. And like that's a big thing with apparently like running seasons is like your summer mileage, and like getting those miles in. They don't need to be overly intense, but just getting acclimated to that weather, still getting miles done, and getting your body used to that kind of like heat and humidity. By the time you come around to the fall and winter, you're kind of cruising because you're like, oh, this is a lot easier.
Yeah.
So there's something to it, but again, like just pushing through it and not being weak, not saying, oh, I'm too hot, I'm too weak.
Today was a test day for me, and some people might have it a little bit easier than me, and that's okay. Like, I first few sets with legs in there I was like, damn, I feel like I'm breathing heavy. It feels like I got a rag over my face. But I was thinking about it. I was like, there's probably 10 pounds of pollen spread out across this leg press that I'm on.
Yeah. Actually, Maddie spent like an hour cleaning last night.
I mean, shit's still kind of yellow.
Oh, yeah.
But, it is what it is. But I was like, damn. But thinking on it, I'm like, it's only training my body just to be able to take an easier day even harder,
Yeah.
But as people that I follow, short and quick, is I typically lately try to only pay attention, because I follow a ton of people, but only try and pay attention to close people that I'm around, obviously, but people that are doing way more, like levels and levels way more than me. Because if I'm following people or paying attention to people that are around the same as me or doing kind of the same things as me, it's not going to really make me
it forces you to
want
set
do
your
better.
expectations way higher.
And it makes me almost get anxious all the time, because I'm following these people. I'm like, damn, they're doing so much. They're crushing it. They have all these big goals, and they're doing things that I'm like, man, I need to figure out what I'm doing and start focusing on me to make sure I'm getting to those levels of, being able to do this or do that. So I don't really follow or pay attention a ton to, besides either people that I'm in business or partnerships with, or people that are levels and levels above me. And I think that's good, because you can get lost in the sauce of following people on meals, or, here's today's ass cheeks or whatever. And it's like, that's not helping me.
Let's see, how many people do I follow? Like 800 or something? 762. Yeah. I can't possibly keep up with 762 people. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you got to pick your people that you're actually like, you actually will read their caption, or you actually get something about. And it kind of goes to like that mindset that I'm sure everyone's heard of like, you're the average of the people you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you can't control like who's around you, but sometimes you don't have the exact people that you may want around you, at least not at this moment. But what you can do is kind of surround your brain with certain people that you want to be, aspire to be like, and take those values and those lessons out of that. And so that's what you can be.
I mean, as far as like, think about it with us, like as far as like the people we hang out every day, it's just us.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't,
and that's a decision we make.
It kind of is, and we talked about this before in earlier podcasts. Is like having not transactional relationships, but like relationships where you feed off of each other, and like having value, bringing some type of like.
And I don't think that's selfish. I think people might take that as like a selfish thing, but I think it's selfish to provide nothing to a relationship.
100%. And just to be like, all right, I don't know. It's deeper than just that, but that's the overall statement that I guess we could leave that question at. Next one is, what is your all-time proudest moment or achievement in the gym? You just had one recently.
Oh yeah, damn! I was like, what do I do?
What have I done?
500-pound deadlift,
Yeah.
easily. Yeah, that was And again, like I feel like the best moments come on a day where you're not expecting it. And when Austin didn't even watch me when
Had
I
my
was
back
done.
turned to him the whole time.
I know. But no, that has to be my favorite. And luckily, it's interesting. I've been lifting here six months now, basically, or a little bit, I guess, extra before it opened. But it's interesting. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, okay, have I hit certain PRs in here that I haven't done in other gyms? And the squat hasn't been a PR yet here, but I benched a couple PRs in here. I hit 285. The 500-pound deadlift, and just things like that I felt good with. I've been finally I feel like, I don't know, I've been settled in here, but it's only up from here, right?
It's hard for me to think of like a proud moment.
Yeah,
personally.
To me, I feel like I don't really have like a particular number or like accomplishment that I've been like, oh yeah, that was the best. But there are a few workouts I feel like I can think back on that it's just been a different level of intensity that it's nice to tap into. That's few and far between. And I feel like, unfortunately, it's never been any that I've just been by myself. It's really always been with somebody else that I feel like, man, like I really, went the extra mile that I didn't think I could. Some of those were in the garage or other things like that this past year, but it feels good to kind of just...
You hit 305, I think, in my garage, didn't you? On bench?
Yes. Yeah. That was a good time. But I don't know. It's weird because I feel like it's almost one of those things that I don't know if I would feel like they were as monumental as a workout if I did that level of intensity all the time, if that makes sense. But it's nice to like have that to look back on or remember. But I almost feel like too, am I just slacking regularly? I don't think I am, but it's weird when you have somebody else to push you regularly and really see like what you're capable of. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of times like when we work out together, it's like rapid fire kind of trade off to where, as soon as you finish Jefferson's, you go right back into the fucking Jefferson's. So
now that you say that, I guess thinking back since we've been here in the gym, I guess proud moments in the gym is me like being intentful for the most part, way more than before with my workouts. Really, holding myself accountable with those pep talks that I give myself, or just making sure I'm just doing some of the little things like actually paying attention to my core work at the end of the day. Because it's not going to get stronger unless I actually pay attention to it.
Yeah,
and that's for whatever you want to do. So, I guess I would have to say that. I mean, I'm not really into strength. I don't know. I guess
proudest moment was getting a sick fucking pump.
I guess I will say this was like three years ago. I did set a goal to hit 405 squat, and I did it. And I haven't gotten close to it since.
Yeah.
My squat has begun trash since then. But so I doubt I'll ever get back up to that, and I don't really have any aspirations to really, do something like that. More so, just make sure my body keeps moving forward with whatever I'm doing. So
this is one that kind of relates to what we had originally written on the board to talk about. Thoughts on guys who are clearly on gear but won't speak on it and educate others with it.
I don't think it's anybody's right to have to educate it. That's on yourself to educate yourself, but.
True.
I just wanted to clear that right there.
I think there's almost like a dichotomy there. A, fake natty is like false hope. But B, on the other end of the spectrum, you get guys like Boston Lloyd or like Tony Huge that they're like, oh, I take like these 20 things. I blast
like
this and that. Yeah. It's
yeah.
like not training. It's not diet. It's not consistency. It's all gear. And like, this is what you have to do to start, or like, this is your cutting stack or other things like that. So I feel like there's got to be a happy medium there of like, not lying to sell something, but also not kind of misleading towards a darker direction.
Put an asterisk on recently on Boston Lloyd. He's like dying right now.
His really?
Kidneys are fucking done.
I haven't even kept up with it.
I just saw a video. It was either Palumbo or somebody was talking. Yeah, he is done. Like kidneys are in failure, like kidney failure.
And he's not even 30.
Yeah, he's like he needs a kidney transplant. Done.
Dang.
Yeah. And it's like, bro,
yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah.
Idiot.
Yeah.
And his dad, I guess I don't know much about him, but I saw
both
stories.
His parents
like they were big into bodybuilding. So, I guess I see like the But who knows what his dad taught him, or if it's just like what he got into. He's like, oh, it's this the drugs, and it's like, bro, if it was the drugs, you would
I
have
think
knew.
he fell into love with the drugs.
Yeah, you would have knew like that it was, and you would have been pro by now, But it's weird. I don't know. I feel like getting back to that, like, just because somebody's taking it doesn't mean it's their right to teach you about it. With dieting or just training in general, it's on you. It's nobody's like, it's all your decision. It's all your, it's all on you. It's self-accountability.
Let's say everything was like legal and more so acceptable as just, people understood that was what was needed for like competing or, to get a certain kind of physique. Do you think that like people should start being more open about what they do or kind of throughout the year what they run or other things like that?
I think it would help probably. But again, there's going to be people like the Bostons or the whoever. They're just like, do it because look at me type thing.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody's body is different and it reacts differently. So
yeah,
I think starting off, you should think long term.
That's something I wanted to interrupt you about.
Yeah.
Was I feel like one thing that I've noticed, and again, maybe it's coming from someone who chose not to take steroids or doesn't compete, but I feel like there's too many people that they roid up knowing or maybe ignoring the long-term consequences and commitment to it just to compete on a local or regional show.
Oh, yeah.
To where it's like you make this huge commitment to the chemistry of your body.
Yeah, and hormones are a scary thing to mess with.
You're messing with these hormones that not only impact, acne, hair loss, blah, 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 but things from happiness to sex drive to, all these things. You're making this big commitment to compete at a few shows, and you may have only been bodybuilding 2-3 years. It's like, how do you know that, A, you're going to do this long term, and B, that you want to do this long term with the added, like, drugs?
Yeah.
For sure.
I have someone I know that was telling me about kind of what they were doing, and I was just surprised because it's like, dude, you're 21, you now have like a heart murmur, and like took all these things under the sun to like do a physique show in Richmond, like, and place fifth sort of thing. Like, I don't know, it's just one of those things that you get caught up in, what other people are doing, or maybe especially around here, like certain cliques or groups that are, part of like a, you know what I mean? I don't know what to describe it as, but just because you go along with that crowd, you kind of start doing what they're doing or other things like that. Yeah. And next thing you know, it's like, I don't know. It just makes me sad to be like, dang, you have to like take Viagra now, or like you tore your joints because you like pushed too hard just to like do this one thing when you'd only been lifting for like 2 or 3 years.
And the thing is, like, it may be like, oh, well, you don't know how committed I am. And let's just say you are committed. But unless you get on, and even if you get to the IFBB pro level, that doesn't guarantee, A, that you're going to get sponsorships and this be like a long-term career, or B, that you're actually going to place anywhere near top 50 at like a pro show, or like, eventually, and things like that. And so if you're anything below an IFBB pro, you're just taking roids to show up and, like you said, take fifth or sixth or, second at these like regional shows, which you have an impressive physique. If you're all into it, if you understand that like this is your life in your 30s, 40s, 50s, then you're good. But I just think too many people in their low 20s they really get into lifting, they love it, they compete, they're like, damn, I was small on stage, or they see their buddies taking it, they're like, I just want to be big. They go for it. And I'm not talking about it as like a shortcut. I'm talking about it as the long-term commitment. I don't mind steroids. If you want to do it, do it. But I just feel like I see too many people that make this commitment without really understanding the long-term ramifications. And like you said, Griffin, then they're not doing their blood work. They're not understanding what they're taking, how much. Their coach kind of leaves them hung out to dry.
Well, and if you're wishy-washy about the other aspects of training and diet, but you think that like this is the missing component, then
it's not.
You're just going to disappoint yourself.
And I guess like full transparency, I have been taking testosterone since I was 23, 22, 23.
Cards on the table.
Yeah. But, and back then I was the same. I was that guy that y'all are talking about. I was like, man, like I've been training for 2 or 3 years now. I just trained since like 2021, right after my wreck. And I was like, there's some other guys that we were rolling with or, people around the gym that you'd see like, man, they're pushing a ton of weight. They look good. They got some size on them, and it's like, you see the videos, you hear this, you hear that. Oh, the pros took this or that, or supposedly, and I want to be jacked and huge. Fortunately, I was around people that they did give me a talking to, being like, hey, once you get into this dark side, quote unquote, like there's gonna come things with it. You're not gonna want to ever come off. Like, and that's the truth. Once you see how good you feel, pumps, blood flow, strength, and once you come off, those things go away, and there's a like homeostasis period where your body's fucked and you feel weaker, you feel tired, you feel small, and it's a mental complex too, once you try to come off. So knowing that, I still took the leap, and, you don't realize it, down the road. Now that I'm 31, I feel like, maybe it's around this time, maybe I would have been like, looking for TRT or something like that, which I'm now doing that. But it's, back at 23, I was still growing, like still a boy.
Yeah.
Kind of,
A young lad.
And back then I was taking way more than I am now. Like right now, barely any, like just what you would consider a TRT dose. But back then I was taking all these different compounds, orals and this and that, but I wasn't training like I should have. Some days I would, some days I wouldn't. And I definitely was not eating like I should have. I was barely eating, and I was expecting to like grow. And I will say I put on a little bit of weight, but not nearly what I should have to be taking all the shit that some pros take. And it's like wasted money, wasted maybe potential health, and, fucking with whatever else that might have, regardless.
What a ride.
Like, let's talk about the hair. I mean, most people in my family are already bald anyway, so that was already coming. But like, other than that, like, there's so many other things you got to look forward to. And then being dependent on stabbing yourself twice a week or once a week, you have to be committed. If you hop onto that horse. So, and, there's so many more little things that we could talk about, but
I just feel like there's no like rush to like do it. I feel like just people, again, when you're just so fresh and green to it, you just kind of want to hop on it. And like I had that mentality like later in high school. I was like, considering it, this or that, because I feel like we all kind of get to that point where we consider it at least for a second. We're like, okay, well, what would that be like? Or I know this person's on this or that. And I'm glad I didn't. And that's not to say, like you said, in my 30s, I think I was telling Griffin this the other day, like full on in my 30s, at least like late 30s, I'm going to probably get on TRT, because it's like, why the fuck not? It's going to start like decreasing anyway. I can get it through a doctor safely, because that's another thing about steroids too. Like sometimes you're getting it overseas, you're getting it from this guy, you don't really know the quality of it, things like that. You are sticking yourself in this and all that. But but at least at that point later in my life, one, I've let my body develop at least to its full extent for the most part. Also, I've gotten a much more experienced, much more time to develop experience in training, diet, and things like that. So by the time I were to take some extra substance, all that's kind of in line, which is important. And again, like I'm older, I have more things established. I can financially afford it consistently, all those things. So.
And it becomes a quality of life thing once you get into your 30s probably, or, who knows what I would have felt like when I turned 31 naturally and whatnot. But I do believe, that TRT, dose is like, once you get to that early or later ages of life, becomes more just making sure that you're optimal, recovering, sex drive is still there, feeling youthful per se, not being like a boomer where you some days I still got a nap or whatever, but I think that's just
even
a page
with the
thing.
gram of caffeine.
But I definitely think a lot of people jump the gun, and it's stupid because, unless you plan on making a career out of it, which most people, I'm sure 99% probably never will, there's no point in doing it. It's added money spent, added time. You got to be committed to, injecting yourself weekly. And then it's just like, it's almost like an anchor, because obviously if you travel and you got to base it around that. And, life revolves kind of around that. It's not like you can just come off cold turkey. Some people can, but, it'll fuck with you. I'm sure there's more to it than just what the eye sees. There's a lot going on the insides.
That's true.
Yeah.
A more lighthearted question you had, Griff?
Oh, yeah.
We dove deep into that one.
Let's see. What is the weirdest thing you've ever seen in someone else's home? You want me to go first?
Sure.
I have some family members that are hoarders, and as a kid, it was always weird for me because they collect things like Pepsi cans because they were like a limited movie version, or like my family member as a kid was not allowed to play with dolls outside of the boxes because that would affect their like sale value.
Yeah.
So they would just be on the wall in the case that you buy them in. And they have like a 70-inch TV and then a 30-inch TV right in front of it so that they don't have to mess up the 70-inch TV by watching it. And so it's just a very weird thing to go into, and just like collecting for the sake of collecting, whether it be like Peanuts, like Christmas, you put them together and they sing, or other things like that, or McDonald's toys, like just a bunch of junk just because it might have like value down the line. It's really weird to go into like a really big house, but yet have to step over boxes and like just be like, oh, well, I don't know, this is fine. So I don't know. I can't really think of like knickknacks per se in other people's houses, but that's like the weirdest thing that I feel like I've gone in and just experienced.
I don't think I've ever had anything that's like off-putting to where I can remember like an experience.
Nothing like that.
Yeah.
No.
Nothing. I mean,
what about that? Well, that's not weird. That's epic. But that dune buggy like go-kart that your granddad has.
Oh yeah, but that's not in his house though. But
yeah.
He has a garage that he has a bunch of shit. He used to be a like big-time flat-bottom boat racing guy back in the late 80s, and had a couple world records for the fastest flat bottom. But he was called the Flying Fat Man back then.
He's like the Dale Earnhardt.
He used to be fat as
boat.
fuck, and then he got, he lost a ton of weight, like 100 and some pounds, and his boat was called the Virginian. You can look it up, I'm sure, on YouTube and whatnot, but held a bunch of world records back in the 80s. I'm sure they've been beaten by now, but now he's just an old man jacking and souping up golf carts. So it's
awesome.
It's his last ride coming soon.
It's like 8 feet tall.
Yeah. And he's got like a 350 on a golf cart. But yeah, nothing off the top of my head that comes to question.
I'll go through a couple more.
All right.
Let's see. This one is, would you rather have gills to swim underwater or wings that can allow you to glide but not fly?
I wrote this question.
Oh.
I thought of it quickly. And here's kind of how I wanted to set it up too, is like, let's say you weren't in a big threat of getting eaten by a shark.
It would
As
be
long
fun
as
to
you're
not
on
have
your
to come
P's
up
and
to breathe.
Q's. Yeah, I feel like I'd like to just kind of swim around, explore. I feel like that'd be pretty cool. And then if the parameters are gliding but not flying, kind of like a flying squirrel where you could jump off a cliff, kind of like a paraglider, thing like that, that would be very cool. But I feel like I'd rather swim underwater and be able to breathe.
I used to have dreams when I was a kid that I could breathe underwater only if I breathed through my nose. So I would try it when I would go to the pool, but it didn't work.
That's weird.
But I would probably say the gills.
You would have expected it to work.
I
Yeah,
know.
after that
I was
dream.
trying to do it really slowly.
I don't know. I'd probably go with the wingsuit type thing.
You know, that makes me think, Griffin, did you ever, I don't know if you're into Star Wars, did you ever like really try seriously hard to do the Force? You're
Oh,
like,
yeah,
maybe I just
absolutely.
need to believe it enough.
That, speaking
Yeah.
in parcel tongue.
The what?
Like, really seriously, we're like, maybe the Force is real. I just have to believe it
Oh,
enough.
shit.
And like, yeah, I did that a few times
Didn't
as a
work.
kid. Yeah.
I watched a movie, speaking of gills, called The Abyss. And it's probably like an early 90s movie. And this guy, so when you're born in a sack, per se, or before you're born, you have your umbilical cord, and I guess that is what gives you air. But supposedly you can toss a newborn baby into the water and they can just like swim. They can, they're naturally
life
like,
or in
yeah,
the movie?
supposedly,
Oh.
like in real life, you can. Supposedly, this is a long time since I've searched that, but in the movie, they relate, you being an infant or preborn is you can, breathe underwater almost, or I don't know. But anyways, they put this diving suit on this guy and fill it up with water. And like, they're like, all right, just calm down and breathe with his suit full of water. And like, he's like twitching and like about to die, or he might have died, but then he comes back and he's breathing in his water suit.
Dang.
So he can go down into this abyss to where, like, you know, his suit can't hold pressure. So if you fill the suit with water, there's no need to, you know, have pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But anyways, it's a pretty cool movie. It's got some big name actor in it, but I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to us probably aren't old enough to know what, like, early 90s movies are. But it's pretty cool.
I was thinking about that last night, having to wake up throughout the night and blow my nose from pollen.
Oh, yeah.
And then just laying in bed trying to, like, close my eyes, and you start to try to breathe through your nose to go back to sleep, and it's not working. It's so clogged.
Yeah.
My body is working against me.
I've got the nose strip on at night. So if y'all ever came over to my joint, I'd have like the old boomer nose strip on and like eyes swollen as shit. Yeah. Got any other questions?
Got a few more. Yeah.
Okay. Anything?
If we want to roll through.
Yeah, give us one more.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap
You want a serious one or a lighthearted
I mean,
one?
whatever would bring some type of value, maybe.
Advice on letting things go.
Shit.
Next.
Yeah, because that could be anything.
Yeah. I don't know where to go with that.
I would say,
Like
as far as
breakup?
letting things go,
Or-
understand maybe something that helps me is realizing that there are just certain things that you will never really let go. And not to sound doom and gloom, but there are certain things that you're just going to carry with you and continue to deal with in different chapters of your life. And I think that sometimes people do themselves a disservice by thinking like, oh, if this hadn't happened to me, then I would be here. I would be like this person. And I think that having that sort of conflict, or maybe things that have happened to you, you're only going to grow from it. And when you come out of the other side, even if you still might carry it with you, that was important to help you become who you are and be part of your life.
I'll say that's very true. There's like I feel like majority of middle school and high school, I had a lot of failures when it came to like females or relationships, and it wasn't always like oh, you give me
Nerd.
a look. Yeah, nerd. No, it was mainly just like I just wouldn't pull the trigger. Like I'd have girls that are like, looking back, I'm like, oh, they were like so interested. I just didn't like have the balls to either like lean in or ask them this or that. And so like sometimes I'll look back and be like, damn, I could have gotten this or done that, or I blew this. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's easier to look back if you're in a better situation than you are now. If you're in a worse situation, I don't think you can look at it as easily this way. But I can look back and be like, you know, who I am with now and who I'm surrounded with is a far better situation and has made me either stronger mentally or led me to make a better decision as far as like starting to lift weights or, you know, getting out of this friend circle or not going to this party. It's made me, you know, be more dedicated and led me to be an entrepreneur now or this or that, versus if I would have dated, let's say, so-and-so girl, she would have led me down this route or had these friends, or I would have been more fake and just not happy with life. I would have lifted less. All these like things could have impacted my life in a different way. And like you said, Griffin, I think you can look back at those and not forget them and still kind of feel the emotions from them, but realize they led you to be a better person at the end of the day and led you to who you are today.
Yeah.
So
you got to learn from them for sure. You know,
Yeah.
some of those things that are setbacks, you got to learn from them.
Yeah.
Like you just can't just like take it and just hit the same door, the same swinging door, you know, right after that. Especially, you know, like you just mentioned, my wreck. I was pre-wreck. Most people probably wouldn't have liked, or I didn't truly like who I was pre-wreck. Yeah. You know, and that sort of opened my eyes and was like, damn, you know, I had things that needed to change in my life, and you learn from things and live and let go.
yeah, you're probably like, damn, I wish I would still have most of my guts intact.
Yeah.
But look who I am today.
You know,
I wouldn't have been. I may have still been like a shithead.
Yeah,
you know,
for
without
sure,
it, so.
100%. You know, 100%.
Absolutely. And it's funny sometimes looking back at things that maybe at the time you thought were a regret, or you didn't know which way to go or what to do, but just thinking about, you know, certain things, I look back and I'm like, man, if I had stayed there, or if I had done this instead, or been with her, other things like that, like, I don't know if I would have liked the me that turned out that way. Or
Yep.
I like where I am now, and, you know, who knows what the future holds, but it's funny just to think back of, all the things that maybe it was a tough, decision at the time, but it turned out for the best. And I think that with anything in life, trust your gut, or kind of trust who you are, and know that it will work out eventually too. And I think just carrying that with you too, knowing that no matter which way things go, it's going to work out one way or another.
Fucking A. I agree with that. And, like I mentioned, learning from those, but then moving forward, have good intentions with what you do. Because, as long as you're having good intentions and like the purpose is right, you can only have good and positive things come from that.
That's true.
So.
Good one to end on.
In with the good shit, out with the bullshit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, queen.
Yeah.
All right.
Go.
That's the show, people.
Yeah, guys, thank y'all
Follow
for
us.
listening and following. Make sure you leave a comment, like the video,
Share it.
or share it, whatnot. Make sure you tag us when you do share it. We'd love to see that. And we will see y'all next week. This is the All or Nothing Show. We're out.